Hi friends. So I am getting kind of to the end of my whole Christmas type paintings, but I've got a few more I'm really excited to show you. I thought this one was really fun. This is one I had in my computer from a few years ago, so I thought I'd go ahead and paint it. It's so cute, and you could use whatever colors. You could make his hat pink. I just think it's so cute. I did do a gnome last year, and we'll go ahead and link that for you. If I can find that video, that might have been a private class, but if I have that, I will link that for you. But let's go ahead and do this one because he is just adorable. The colors I'm going to use for my little guy particularly, and by the way, I'll be painting on my Meeden. I've really been kind of hooked on them lately because I really like the fact that it's glued around all edges, meaning it's a block, and it's just really easy to paint on. And if I use a lot of water, I don't have to worry about warping. And the Meeden is also 100% cotton, but if you have your Artisto, those are perfectly fine as well. I'm going to be using my brushes. I think for his hat that you can see here, let me show you, I will use, and you can use your Princeton brushes. I will link them below for you. So this one looks pretty good. I think I'll use that. Princeton Velvet Touch has their angle shader that's about 3/8 inch, and that is perfect as well. Love the Velvet Touch because it's nice and soft and that short handle like mine. So if you're using mine, that's going to be the 8 shader, angle shader. And I'll probably use my 8 round. And let's see what else, which you can use your Princeton 8 round is fabulous, that Velvet Touch again. So let's play with some of the colors here. For mine, I'm going to use, I really like, by the way, I'm using my my Lang Paul Rubens palette. And I really like the bright green, kind of the sap green and that yellowy green. So that'll predominantly be what I'm using for his hat. And then for his little nose, I'm going to do a mixture of the Quin Rose, which could be used on its own. It's so cute. And then I'm going to add in, so I'm going to put that right here. And then what I'll add into that is just a tiny bit of yellow. So we get kind of this orangey color. And I'm going to lighten that up. I want to try and get kind of a skin color. So maybe add even in some more yellow, something like that. There we go. So the cad yellow or even yellow ochre with a little bit of your Quin Rose is a pretty nice little color for skin color. Let me show you the other option though. So that would be this type of color, kind of orangey, a little bit orangey compared to what I might like. The other option we have for skin color would be to use that Quin Pink or Quin Rose and just use a really light watered down version of that. So let me add even more water to that and look at that. Isn't that pretty? Could even add in a tiny bit of that and see what we're getting here. We're getting that really pretty skin color, peachy, rosy color that I think is perfect for a gnome. So that's the colors I'm going to be using. Here's my green, which was in the My Lang palette. It was the sap green and some of that light green. That's kind of my go-to. Sometimes I use the olive green. And besides that, maybe some of the Payne's Gray, or if you have a black, just for his little whiskers. I like the Payne's Gray because it's not quite as harsh as the black. It's got, you know, that little bit of blue in it. And then I'm going to water that down quite a bit because I want his little beard to look like he's graying. And then for the little pom-pom, I'll be using my MAB series. That's that metallic series I've been using for over a year now. This is the Mirror Series, so it's got the silver color in there. I'm going to go ahead and give this just a little spritz too. So I'll use that for his little pom-pom and to add into his beard as well. Actually, this is my favorite. It's a little bit thicker. Yeah, look at that. So that's actually the one I'm going to be using. Okay, let's get started. Watch how easy this is. This would be so adorable on a little card, but I'm going to paint on this paper right now. So I'm going to take my angle brush here. And again, you can use your 3/8 angle shader by Princeton. It's a little bit smaller. And let's just go ahead and grab some of that green. I'm going to put some in my palette here. So wetting my brush, picking up that sap green, just getting some in my palette here. I'm just going to scrape that off a bit. Now I'll pick up some of the lighter green and let's just do a mix of that. And I'm gonna get it pretty watered down because remember we always go light to dark in watercolors and then tap, 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 tap it off. All right, so I've got my colors there. I'm going to start with his little hat kind of coming out over here, kind of to a little point there. And I want to keep this really wet and kind of washy. Just laying down the side of my brush. And going to start getting bigger and bigger. Kind of little marks here. The other thing I will do is I will tap in a bit. Here's that emerald green. That's kind of a pretty color. We can just tap in a little bit here and there while this is wet and let that kind of blend. Look at that, isn't that pretty? The beauty of watercolors, why I love it. And then I'm getting larger and larger with my little stripes in his hat. Add in some of that emeraldy green, that Christmassy green. So pretty, so Christmassy, isn't it? And even bigger yet. There we go. Kind of tapping in. And then just letting it blend nicely. There we go. Pick up some more water. So now I'm getting towards where it's going to start curving around. So I want to start coming this angle here. Like that. There we go. Just adding in some interest there. And now this one here, let's really start coming out. Just tapping in, wet on wet. With some of those greens. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's so Christmassy. You don't have to get real perfect here. Just let it kind of blend. And our next one, I'm going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And I'm working pretty wet here because I really wanted to get some nice, fun colors. Just tapping in using the edge of my brush here. There we go. And even bigger yet. Maybe carry this out just a bit. And I love the washiness of this, so that's not bothering me that it's really wet like that. I love that. Pick up some of those other colors and tap them in there. Just give it some interest here. and it will blend in like that. Look how pretty that green is. Isn't that fun? I feel like I want to carry it over just a bit more, just barely. So I'm going to do one more of his hat. Maybe let's do it kind of curves down like that. Isn't that fun? What a cute card this will be. I think that will definitely be one of my last cards. There we go. And then tap in some of that Christmassy green. Really just use the greens you like here. And as you can see, I'm going pretty wet because I want that kind of mottled look, that kind of soft look. And now here's where we're going to do our little nose. So let's go back to that color we created, which was on our swatch. And I think what I'm gonna do is use the really light Quin pink or rose pink and just add a lot of water to it. And I've got a little bit of that orange, so I can always add some of that in here. So let's grab our pink, which is quite bright. So really water it down otherwise, which is fine too. He's gonna have a really bright nose. So nothing wrong with that if you like that color. That's up to you. I think it could be just as cute with a bright pink nose. And let's just do his nose because the brim of his hat is over his little eyes. And we want a big round nose. Like this. Look how cute. Adding a little bit more pink here, and I'm not getting real perfect here, so just having some fun. I am gonna lighten some of those edges just a bit. So I'll just go along those and soften them. There we go. How cute is our little guy? There we go. The next part I'm going to do is I'll go in with my 8 brush. Again, you can use this is my brush, but they're sold out. You can use the 8 Princeton Velvet Touch. And let me get that grayish color that we've got here, which again was the Payne's, actually the Payne's gray. And then I just lightened it with a lot of water. So probably 80% pigment, 20% water. So it just looks gray, like he's got gray hairs. There we go. That's pretty light. And I'm going to go in and just resting my hand here, I'm going to hold my brush down here because I have more control. The farther out, you have less control. And I'm very light pressure. If you practice your brush strokes, it's going to be those very light brush strokes. So coming out and just start drawing in his little whiskers. And I'm going to make mine really, he's got a lot of whiskers, so just the tip of my brush here, like that. I mean, how cute is that? A big full beard. And I might paint in some flatter areas here, and then we'll go back in and add in individual whiskers. Need a little bit more black. Or that Payne's gray. I just like the Payne's gray because I just think it's a little bit more interesting than a flat black. So there we go. I went pretty wet in wet there. Now once that dries, I can come back and just add in my little individual whiskers. I think what I'll do down here is darken that a bit. Just to look like it's kind of rounded. Look at that. There we go. Just gives it a little bit of, makes it feel a little bit more dimensional and interesting. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead. You could use the gold metallics too. The gold series would be really pretty as a little pom-pom, but I'm going to use the silver here that I've got. So just dipping the side of my brush in there, and I need to try not to put my hand in here. And let's just add his little pom-pom there. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. And I think that's all we need for that. I am going to use, once this dries and I add in some darker whiskers here, I am going to put a little bit of silver in there. So let me just give this a really quick shot of my heat gun just to dry it a little bit quicker. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more in the bottom of his nose too, just to make it stand out a bit. Just like it's the bottom of his nose. There we go. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's give this a quick shot. Dry his whiskers and his nose. There we go. Okay, so we've got this light value with his whiskers. Now we'll go in with that darker black, actually Payne's gray. So we're going to use a darker mix of that, meaning now it's probably about 50%, probably 50% water, 50% pigment. And I'm just going to go in using the brush on its side because it's really got this beautiful chiseled edge. And I'm going to start creating little individual whiskers coming out. Like that. Perfect little brush. You could also use like a liner or something like that. And look at how fun that is because we use this lighter value. That's the power of values. And now we're going over it with those darker values. So it really gives it a nice, interesting look for your viewer. Just keep adding those in. There we go. Making some of those thicker. Okay, almost done here. And then we'll let it dry and we'll go in with some of those metallics. But look what a cute little guy he is. I think he's adorable. Just creating some thicker lines there at the bottom. There we go. Okay, look how cute he is with his little silver pom-pom. Okay, now I'm going to go in with that same brush and pick up some of that silver. And it's perfectly fine if this is a little wet because it'll blend in a little bit together. So let me move this up so you can watch me here. This is like the best part. Look at that. Just little shiny areas here and there. Ah, he's so cute. I hope you can see that silver, that Mirror Series. It's one of my favorites. Just keep adding that. And, you know, I always like adding this in so it's not completely just in your face. It's kind of giving little glimpses. So your viewer says, ooh, do I see a sparkle there? And that's kind of how I like to use my metallics for the most part. And there we go. Let me show you that. See how pretty that is? His little beard's all sparkly. So that's about all I'm going to do with this one. I think it's a really fun and easy one and would be easy to make numerous cards on with it. You can always go in if you really like that, need that detail, and add in some more little lines here and there, but I'm not a big detail person, so I'm not real worried about that. And I think I will just end it right here. So I hope you give that a try, and I will list all of my supplies down below. Thank you for being here. We're coming to the end of the year. So fun meeting so many of you and getting your stories sent to me email, and let's just keep having fun here. All right, I will talk to you all soon.